Part C. Directions. In this part of the test, you will hear several short talks. After each talk, you will hear some questions. The talks and questions will not be repeated. After you hear a question, read the 4 possible answers in your book and choose the best answer. Then, on your answer sheet, find the number of the question and fill in the space that corresponds to the letter of the answer you have chosen. Questions 39 through 42. Listen to a lecture by a history professor.
I know that this is probably a digression from the topic of today's lecture, but it is worth noting that although England no longer ruled her former colonies after the 18th century, she controlled trade with them by selling products so cheaply that it was not possible for the new countries to manufacture and compete with English prices. To maintain this favorable balance of trade, England went to fantastic lengths to keep secret the advanced manufacturing processes upon which such a monopoly depended. Enterprising Americans made all kinds of ingenious attempts to smuggle drawings for the most modern machines out of England. But it was an Englishman, Samuel Slater, who finally succeeded. Although textile workers were forbidden to emigrate, Slater traveled to the United States in secret. Determined to take nothing in writing, he memorized the intricate designs for all the machines in an English textile mill, and in partnership with Moses Brown, a Quaker merchant, recreated the mill in Rhode Island. 45 years later, in part as a result of the initial model by Slater and Brown, America had changed from a country of small farmers and craftsmen to an industrial nation in competition with England.
Number 39. Who is the speaker? Number 40. According to the speaker, how did England control trade in the 18th century? Number 41. What did Samuel Slater do? Number 42. What happened as a result of the Slater-Brown partnership? Questions 43 through 46. Listen to a talk by a college instructor in an English class.
So many different kinds of writing have been called essays, it is difficult to define exactly what an essay is. Perhaps the best way is to point out 4 characteristics that are true of most essays. First, an essay is about one topic. It does not start with one subject and digress to another and another. Second, although a few essays are long enough to be considered a small book, most essays are short. 500 words is the most common length for an essay. Third, an essay is written in prose, not poetry. True, Alexander Pope did call 2 of his poems essays, but that word is part of a title. And after all, the essay on man and the essay on criticism really are not essays at all. They are long poems. Fourth, and probably most important, an essay is personal. It is the work of one person whose purpose is to share a thought, idea, or point of view. Let me also state here that since an essay is always personal, the term personal essay is redundant. Now, taking into consideration all of these characteristics, perhaps we can now define an essay as a short prose composition with a personal viewpoint that discusses one topic. With that in mind, let's brainstorm some topics for your first essay assignment.
Number 43. What is the instructor defining? Number 44. What is the main point of the talk? Number 45. According to the talk, which of the characteristics are not true of an essay? Number 46. What will the students probably do as an assignment? Questions 47 through 50. Listen to a talk by a tour guide for Jefferson's home.
Not a gifted public speaker, Thomas Jefferson was most talented as a literary draftsman. Sent to Congress by the Virginia Convention in 1775, he was elected to the committee to draft a Declaration of Independence from England. Although John Adams and Benjamin Franklin also served on the committee, the composition of the Declaration of Independence belongs indisputably to Jefferson. In 1779, Jefferson was elected governor of the state of Virginia, an office he held until Congress appointed him to succeed Franklin as U.S. Minister to France. Upon returning to Washington, he accepted the position of Secretary of State. Although Jefferson was a Republican, he had first tried to cooperate with Alexander Hamilton, a Federalist, who was first among President Washington's advisers. When he concluded that Hamilton was really in favor of a monarchy, hostility between the two men sharpened. Having served as vice president in John Adams' administration, Jefferson ran for president in the election of 1800. He and Federalist Aaron Burr received an identical vote, but the Republican Congress elected to approve Jefferson as president. The most outstanding accomplishment of his administration was the purchase of the Louisiana Territory from France in 1803. He was easily reelected in 1804. When he left office 4 years later, he returned here to Monticello, where he promoted the formation of a liberal university for Virginia.
Number 47. What is the main purpose of this talk? Number 48. Jefferson was a member of which political group? Number 49. How did Jefferson become president? Number 50. According to the lecturer, what was it that Jefferson was not?
This is the end of Model Test 3.